You may be familiar with the concept in English of rhetorical questions, right? Rhetorical questions are questions that don't require an answer. They're questions that the asker will answer him or herself, or just that nobody answers them, right? So examples of rhetorical questions in English are, do birds fly? Is the Pope Catholic? And even, can't you do anything right? That's actually a rhetorical question, right? You don't expect an answer when you ask that. So in English, rhetorical questions aren't really supposed to be answered, and they're just supposed to make a point, right? In ASL, rhetorical questions serve a completely different purpose, and they're not used in the same way as they are in English at all. They're actually a grammatical feature in ASL. So rhetorical questions in ASL provide a connection between related comments, all right? They link together two parts of a sentence or two parts of a comment. So here are some examples of rhetorical questions in ASL. So my friend name, what? Beth. That's an example of a rhetorical question in ASL. It's a question I'm just going to tell you. It's a question I'm going to answer for you. It's not a real question requiring an answer. Okay, so here's the next one. So that was he cry. Why? He's sad. Okay, here's the next, the last one, the last example I'll give you. I work when? 10 o'clock. All right, so you probably noticed that there are questions in the middle of those sentences that just get answered. I just answer them. So the use of rhetorical questions in ASL requires a few specific things. It's not just throwing in a question and then answering it. So when you use a rhetorical question, you need to use a non-manual sign of raised eyebrows and a slight head tilt. So you probably noticed that that's what I did when I gave you those examples. I work when? Eyebrows up, head tilted forward, because it's a rhetorical question, which I'm just about to answer for you. 10 o'clock. All right, so rhetorical questions are very common in ASL, and especially because I had a deaf professor tell me this in my grad program. Deaf people love storytelling, and rhetorical questions draw the viewers in and hold their attention. I work when? And now you're like, I don't know. When do you work? Tell me, right? All right, so there are two, the examples that I just gave you are often used in ASL, but there are two sort of extra common rhetorical questions in ASL. One is do, and one is why. So when you use do, that means kind of like, what are we gonna do? What am I gonna do? So if I said, me hungry, do, make sandwich, me. So I'm hungry, and so what am I gonna do? I'm gonna make a sandwich. I'm just gonna tell you exactly, what I'm gonna do. It's not a question for you to answer. It connects the first part of my sentence, hey, I'm hungry, with sort of the result of that, what I'm gonna do about it. It connects those two parts of the sentence. All right, the next very common rhetorical question in ASL is why. And the reason that it's so common is that in American Sign Language, there is no sign for because. There is a sign for because in signed English, which sometimes gets thrown into ASL, but technically in ASL, there is not a sign for because. And so the rhetorical question, why, is used as because. So for example, let's see, I skip school. Why? Me sick, me. So let me do that again. I skip school. Why? Because I'm sick. Okay, so in English, we would say, I miss school or I skip school because I'm sick. In ASL, you say, I skip school. Why? I'm sick. All right, so in ASL gloss, there's a special way of writing a rhetorical question, and it is either RH in lowercase letters or in all capital letters, RH-Q, rhetorical question. And so like other facial expressions or non-manual signs, you write where you make that facial expression over the word being signed. So for example, if I'm writing, I am late because I overslept in ASL gloss, you would sign I late. Why? And when you write why, you write a line over why and then RH or RHQ above it. Okay, so I late. Why? I overslept. So when you write the why, if you're writing ASL gloss, you only write RH or RHQ above the sign, the word why, because that's the only place that you make that facial expression. You don't start with I late, right? It's I late. Why? And it's just for that one sign. So that's how you write it in ASL gloss. So rhetorical questions, they are, like I said, very common and they can be very fun. And you will see them a lot in ASL. So get used to signing a few and get used to looking for a few too.